Welcome to Eat Right by George, the healthy cooking show showing you healthy can be delicious. And on today's show, I'll be demonstrating how to prepare stuffed calamari Mediterranean style. And for stuffed calamari, which of course is also known as squid, we are going to need 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. We'll need a cup of rice, half cup of red wine. We'll need fresh mint and dill chopped, about 2 tablespoons of each. We'll need about 4 cups of diced tomatoes and tomato sauce. We'll need a half cup of tomato paste, and we'll need 3 chopped onions for this wonderful recipe. I'm really excited about this one. And of course I'll be using my Ozeri pans, which are eco-friendly. So first thing you want to do for making stuffed calamari is heat your pan at about a medium heat. Get your pan nice and hot and add your olive oil using extra virgin. Of course, the first cold press. And when using olive oil, you don't want it too high because it's a very delicate oil when you're cooking with olive oil, and it can affect the flavor. So you want to get your pan about medium heat. And first thing is saute your onions, get those caramelizing. And the next step will be to add our garlic. So this is going to be a very healthy recipe. This is something they make back in the villages where they have plentiful of seafood. So when you have things like calamari, and we're going to be using the whole calamari, and in the bonus footage of our show today on Eat Right by George, I'll be showing you how to clean the calamari. So before you make this recipe, you're going to actually clean the calamari. We're using whole calamari, as I said. And there is some special techniques to cleaning calamari. So it's very important that you watch the bonus footage of Eat Right by George, which will be at the end of the program today. So we're getting our calamari prepared, and we have also preheated our oven to 350. So you want to preheat your oven because the second part of this recipe will call for you to bake the calamari in the oven. Okay, we got a good heat going. Next, I took a couple of cloves of garlic and minced those. So we're going to add that to our onions. So we have our garlic and our onions sauteing. And you never cook your garlic first. You never saute your garlic first because it can burn up in the pan. You want that cooking along with the onions. The onions kind of act as a barrier to keep the garlic from burning up. It smells so good. Now once our onions are transparent, which means that they are cooked, you want to start sauteing your rice. So using a cup of rice. And the rice is getting all that flavor from your onions, garlic, and olive oil. Now I love these Ozeri pans because they cook everything so even. And they're not releasing any kind of toxins. So it's an added bonus to cooking healthy. Now once our onions have took on the flavor, you sauteed them. Then we want to add our tomato sauce and diced tomatoes. What I did is I took fresh tomatoes and chopped them. And I also took some tomato sauce and combined that all together, as you can see in this measuring glass. Oh yeah, we are cooking now. Moving along. So good. Now it's great if you have a garden and you have some fresh tomatoes and chop them and add them to this mixture. The fresher the better. So we're letting our rice cook. Now for this recipe, your rice should cook about 3/4 of the way full. Not all the way, but it should cook most of the way. Because they will not cook, the rice will not cook inside the calamari for too long. The calamari will be cooked quickly. Now if you were stuffing grape leaves, or if you were stuffing something like zucchini or tomatoes, those hold up better when they're boiling. So your rice would actually cook inside the grape leaves or the zucchini, and you wouldn't have to worry too much. But with the calamari, you want to cook most of the rice about 3/4 of the way cooked. So you want it to absorb this this mixture here. And I also like to add a little lemon juice. So I have some organic lemon juice I'm going to add to my rice mixture. I'm using about 1/3 of a cup there. And what lemon juice does is it gives a little bit of a zing. Kind of propels the flavor. Now finally, at the end, we'll add our herbs, but something to hold and to bring it all together. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of tomato paste. And what the tomato paste acts as like a binder. It kind of binds everything, brings everything together, and adds more flavor to your filling, to your calamari, stuffed calamari filling. So we're going to mix all that together. It's looking so good already. But my favorite part is coming up. My favorite part is adding our herbs. And what I have here, what I've done is I've taken about 2 tablespoons of fresh mint and dill, and I've chopped them together because mint and dill goes so well together. They complement each other. And the dill is great in seafood, so especially in fish dishes, you want to add dill. And definitely with calamari, you want to have some fresh dill. And I grow fresh mint and dill in my garden. It comes out every year in the springtime. That's the wonderful thing about mint and dill. You can even take a sprig of mint, put it in a glass of water, and put it by your windowsill, and it will sprout roots. Because mint grows so easy. So now I'm going to add my fresh mint and dill. I'm going to reserve some for a garnish at the end. Mix these together. And this is going to be my filling for my calamari. So fresh and light and tasty. As you can see, it is just wonderful. Combining these, let these cook. Let the rice cook. for a few minutes. Like I said, it's got to be almost pretty much done before you're going to stuff them in the calamari. Now in another pan, what I've done is I've taken diced tomatoes, I've taken some tomato sauce, a couple cups. I put it in another pan as well, as you can see, in a bigger pan. This is where I'm going to put my calamari when they're baking in the oven. You can also take, if you have fresh tomatoes, you can take a big fresh tomato and grate it and also put that in the pan so you can give it a little better texture. I also like to grate tomatoes as well, just for that added texture. As you can see, our rice is absorbing all the flavor from the tomato sauce, the tomato paste, bringing it all together here. Such a great recipe. And in about a minute or so, I'm going to show you the calamari that we're going to be stuffing. You've probably been hearing about it, now you want to see it. I'll be showing you the calamari that I cleaned earlier before before we started filming the show here today, here on Ear Eye by George. Hopefully you've been checking out our Facebook page. I have been getting your friend requests. I've been getting to those. Thank you so much. And we'd love to hear from you. Hope you're enjoying the show. I'm sure you are. If you've been doing some of the recipes, take pictures of the recipes and post them. This show is great for people that are trying to watch their weight, watching their cholesterol. They were trying to live a healthier lifestyle. We've done some wonderful recipes, all healthy and tasty. Our rice is cooking. I keep stirring it around because I don't want it to stick. As you can see, it's really coming together now. It's absorbing the juice. I want to make sure to get all the juice out before you start stuffing it, the calamari. And it's very important to have a wooden spoon. I'm using a wooden spoon because the wooden spoon doesn't scrape the bottom of your pan. You don't want to scratch your pan, so try to avoid using any kind of metal spoons. You don't want to scrape the bottom of your pan and get the metal off. This has a ceramic coating. I wish you could smell how wonderful the aroma is from the herbs and tomato paste and sauce together, the olive oil and garlic. Okay, now we have absorbed the liquid, so we can start stuffing our calamari. We can turn that off. What I'm using is a small teaspoon so that it can fit in the calamari better. I'll get a couple, I'll get one out for you. Here's a calamari. And basically what you're going to do, I'll show you in the bonus footage, is to clean it out. You take the head off, you take the tentacles off of the calamari. It's a seafood, of course. This is a large calamari, so you don't want to use small calamari for this recipe. You need to go and get the large ones, and you're probably asking, where am I going to get a calamari that big? Well, you need to go to an international market and ask them for calamari. Some of the international markets in your area, they should have calamari, fresh calamari. If not, you have to look it up, find out maybe from a friend, some people that also love to prepare calamari. So what I've done is clean it out and then take a couple teaspoons of your rice mixture and add it. Now remember, rice triples in size, so you don't want to overstuff your calamari. Rice triples in size, so you don't want your rice to explode. So what I did is I put a couple teaspoons of the mixture inside. Use your spoon, use a small teaspoon. I'm using a plastic one because it seems to slide a little bit better inside. Move it to the bottom. And then next, take a toothpick and close up your calamari so that the rice doesn't get out. Next, I take it and I'm going to put it inside of my other pan, which is going to bake in the oven. I'll take another one out. And once again, you open up your calamari, take your spoon here. Take just a couple teaspoons. You might have some extra rice left. You can actually cook that and have it as a side dish. You might have to use your fingers. Takes a little practice getting used to it. Get it to the bottom. Remember, rice triples inside, so it might not seem like a lot of rice in there, but it triples, so use your toothpick and seal it, and then put it in your pan. Now in the pan, I can reverse these now. Once you put them in the pan, what I like to do is put a little bit of the tomato sauce on top. And I also like to take some chopped tomatoes to add. And then I take whole slices of tomatoes and put them on top of my calamari. I also add a little bit of for garnish. And I also bake it with half cup of red wine as well. So I add a little bit of red wine in here. You want to bake these, you can start it off here on the stove top, getting everything going, and then you want to finish it in the oven. So you want to probably get the pan nice and hot. Once it's cooked about halfway, then you want to add it to your oven to finish baking. And once the juice is absorbed, your calamari is ready. They'll plump up, and you can garnish them with a little sprig of mint, as you can see right here. So there you have it, a healthy and delicious recipe here on Eat Right by George. Stuffed calamari. Very Mediterranean recipe if you love the Mediterranean. And if you love calamari, something different, because I know a lot of times people are stuffing calamari, or a lot of times people are frying calamari. You always hear about fried calamari, and they don't realize that calamari can also be stuffed and baked. Also, it's great in salads. It's very versatile seafood and very tasty, very delicious. You can also add the tentacles to our calamari as well, to our mix here. And it's going to bake in the oven for at least 45 minutes. So you want, once it's started about halfway cooking here on top of the stove, then you want to bake it in the oven for about 45 minutes until the juice is removed, till it's absorbed. And of course, baking it at 350 degrees. As you can see here, it's already boiling. So there you have it. Stay tuned for our bonus footage of Eat Right by George. I'll be showing you how to clean calamari. So I'll be showing you how to clean the calamari, because when a calamari is purchased at the international market, It's usually whole. So as you can see, this is a whole calamari with the head attached and the tentacles all attached. And it does need a little bit of work. So I'm going to show you on the bonus footage how to clean it up. You'll impress your friends because they'll really be enjoying this recipe and wondering, how did you do it? How did you clean the calamari and made it fit for being served? Put a couple more of the tentacles in there. And it's boiling here. I'll next put it in a casserole dish. You can also use a casserole dish. This is actually an oven-safe pan. So in case you're wondering how you're going to bake that in the oven, this is actually an oven-safe pan. So you can actually not worry about the handle melting. So I want to thank you once again for joining me here on Eat Right by George, the healthy cooking show showing you healthy, can be delicious. Enjoy your stuffed calamari. Welcome to Eat Right by George bonus.